understand how. So I try to tell them that it's 'cause you are my everything. You are my everything.
Stages, welcome to Stages. Thank y'all for tuning in again. Constantly, I'm just kind of trying to keep pushing out content. And recently I've just been catching a lot of low-hanging fruit, as what you would say. Pretty much we've been lucky enough to still be able to keep services going on because our church isn't huge at all. You know, our church isn't huge, and we still can be able to get together and pray and talk. We still keep our social distance, arm bump. You feel me? But this is interesting. And everything's just different now. But the main thing that we talked about last week was, especially in church in our last service, was we got to looking at the different perspectives of like people's relationship with God. And it's amazing to keep seeing how like people do have like different relationships with God, like different ways that they see him or they got to know him or what they knew him as. And recently, a lot of times I'm always trying to think about what I'm going to do next. But then I just recently started watching something on Amazon where they talk about Jesus, but they talk about like everybody's perspective on how they saw Jesus. So like I forgot what the name of the show is. It's on Amazon Prime, but I know Dr. Otis Moss is in there, fellow Clevelander. And it was cool to actually see like people get in deep in depth with it. Cause like, as somebody who actually sometimes I have to preach or sometimes I go up and speak. So like with me doing that, like, you read a lot of commentary and you try to get the background story and see what's really going on. Cause a lot of time the Lord can connect all that stuff and put it in perspective so you can see from like a broader view. So like, that's just like watching Bible commentary, which is super dope. Because a lot of times you get the background on top of what's going on, what was going on with like the culture that was going on at the time, and like what people usually do and why, like when the Lord did certain things for certain people, why it was so extreme is because somebody who's supposed to be a king shouldn't do this, or you know what I'm saying, somebody who is supposed to be a Jew don't look out for Gentiles like that. So it's a lot of good Bible commentary that it has with it. But on top of that, again, all it did was keep making me look at the different perspectives on like how people have a relationship with God. And it made me reflect and kind of look at mine. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what type of relationship do I have with the Lord? You know what I'm saying? And one thing that I really don't want to do, I try not to, two things. The first thing is I try not to box it in. So like, the first thing I know is that the Lord is the same no matter what. Now, even though the Lord is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore, I understand that there's more of the Lord that I need to get to know. Like, you know what I'm saying? I've been saved for about like 4 or 5 years now. I've actually lost count. I think 5 years in October. So yeah, so it'll be 5 years since I've given my life to the Lord, and within that 5 years, like just the small portion that I've gotten to know about the Lord is so satisfying. And I realize that there's more of him that I need to know and I need to receive. This year, again, the word is grace, so I'm getting to see how graceful the Lord is and how forgiving he is and how much room he gives me to be able to move and stretch and be able to see and work in my gifts and my calling and work in my purposes and make me fall down, make mistakes and be like, all right, this is how we need to do this better. Like, I'm getting an understanding of that, which is real cool. But I just want to talk about a couple of the things where I've got to notice and, the relationship what I have with the Lord. And a lot of times, sometimes the first thing that this makes me look at, especially when we was talking about it, is like sometimes, man, you can't down and you can't talk about like how people react when they dealing with God, especially when they shouting or they falling on the floor, or even when they explain it, even when they explain like their relationship with God. as long as it match up with what you read in the Bible, Gucci. You feel me? Like, as long as the characteristics and what we're saying about the Lord aligns with what we read in the Bible, everything is a-okay. And sometimes it's good to hear people's stories in different ways on how they see God and the relationship what they have with them, is because this is something, to me, in my eyes, this is something more that I can explore, and I'm hoping I can see from the Lord. You know what I'm saying? Because I need it. You know what I'm saying? I'm still, at the end of the day, I'm nowhere near perfect. I'm going to end up running into a situation. So I need to know this part of God. Like, you know what I'm saying? I need to know the patient God. I need to know, I need to know how loving he is. I need to know how comforting he is. I need to know the chastising part of him too. You feel me? I need to know every aspect of the Lord, and he deals with us all different. You know what I mean? We all different, so he deals with us all different. But I understand that there's more of God that I can explore, and there's more ways where I can actually see God's love spreading towards everybody, realizing that this thing is just not limited to the little bubble that I be in, but this thing goes and reaches farther than I can even imagine. And a lot of people go through way more stuff than I do. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, my life is cool. You know what I'm saying? Like, I done had some bumps in the road. Stuff done got crazy. Sometimes it can be a movie. But, man, watching the Clark sisters and hearing about, like, different people like Kirk Franklin stories, and just hear how some people come from being homeless and all this other type of stuff. Like, even, like, people's, like, their ministry when they was younger. Like, my pastor, he talked about his ministry when he was younger, people falling out at school, giving their life to God. Like, man, that's crazy. Like I still have not seen that yet. I've seen myself fall out. Trust and believe me. I've seen myself cry, fall out on the floor. Never think I would be one of these type of people. But it came from a real place. Like, you know what I'm saying? The Lord has saved me from a lot. And it's just good to see people's different relationships and just understanding how big God really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, we only scratch the surface on seeing how big God is. But God is huge, man. And his love is huge. And he cares about all of us. Even when I was kicking it earlier today, and I'm just being silly and just coming up with random stuff and just saying fried stuff, honestly. And fried, I mean just silly, and just being silly in my house and being silly at my mom's house. I'm like, Lord, you like this, huh? Like, you made me like this. You like this, huh? Like, this is something that you find cool, and that's cool for me to know that me and the Lord is cool. You know, that's the most beautiful thing about me giving my life to Christ, is me understanding and just being cool. And this one thing I'm actually learning about, like, relationship and growing, and always understanding that there's more for me to get to know. There's more to stretch upon. So never settle and never get too familiar, because there's so much more. You feel me? And I'm always changing too. And I know people, as they grow, they change. The Lord doesn't change, but there's more to him that I need to know. So that's one thing that helps with the tangible part of real life. But okay. I'm going to talk about the two things that I've realized with my relationship with God. I'm going to give two scriptures, and then I'll be up out of here. Like, I'm not going to hold y'all too long. The first thing that I realized is how omniscient God is. I'm actually going to give the dictionary. Well, omniscient really just means all-knowing. So God knows everything. Like, He knows everything that I'm about to do. He knows about the COVID. I call it the COVID-19. He knows about when I'm sad. He knows about things that are going to come. And I was just talking about that. The crazy thing we were just talking about that's too in church, and I kind of got salty, is because I know a lot of times, like, when I'm most frustrated, or I'm figuring like, man, what in the world is going on? Like, why is everything so fried? And I'll literally hear the Lord be like, man, everything gonna be okay. Or he'll play some real cool, everything's gonna be all right type music. Like, I actually, earlier today, I was listening to, like, the CC Winans All Right. I'm an old person. in a young person's body sometimes. But I'm listening to All Right and I'm kicking. That's a jam. I'm like, all right, all right, all right. So I'm jamming, but I'm like, Lord, you always playing these type of songs when I'm like, man, like what is going on right now? But again, the Lord is seeing stuff way past the situation that I'm in right now. Again, at the beginning of the year, before all this crazy stuff started happening, the Lord's telling me how good the year is supposed to be. What? Okay, what? What's going on? It's not adding up. We're almost half a year now, but it's good to know and understand how omniscient God is. One of the really first ways, like the very, 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 very first time when I started giving my life to Christ, I remember that, like, man, I was down bad. I just quit doing my street job and my agency that I was working with in insurance, they closed. And basically my homie Los, shout out to Los, he ended up getting me like this dishwashing job at I forgot what Dante. So I ended up getting this dishwashing job, and usually on the weekend it's shaking. I mean, like, dishes is coming back, and when I'm in grind mode, I don't care what I gotta do, whatever we gotta do to be able to make sure we living, we keeping money in our pocket, we gonna do it. You feel me? And it was paying me under the table too, so that made it even more perfect. But what ended up happening is, like, man, I knew that day, for some reason, I was just really tired. I don't remember what. I remember I ended up going to, like, this meeting. So I ended up going to, like, this church meeting because we had, like, some small group where we still get together outside of our norm. And I was just tired, man. I was just tired. And I just remember hearing the Lord clear as day. Clear as day. Clear as day, just telling me, like, hey, son, like, don't worry. Today's gonna be like one of the slowest days the store ever done seen, for real. And you're gonna be able to get some rest. I'm like, sometimes, let's keep it real. Sometimes when the Lord says some stuff to me, man, I just be thinking, first thing I'm thinking is, man, I'm tripping. Okay, that's the first thing that I always think. Sometimes I think, like, man, I'm tripping. And then sometimes I'll be like, all right. You know what I'm saying? I'm like God ain't God. So, like, sometimes I'll just be like, all right, whatever you say. And then the crazy thing is, going into it, like, man, there was one dude, he ended up talking, we ended up chopping it, the other dude who dishwashing, because this one person, we put one person that put the dishes in the dishwasher, the other person that catch it. So as we doing this, he was like, man, I wonder what the day gonna be like, blah, 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 blah. So then, I'm actually, I'm trying to, give words of encouragement, and I'm giving the word that the Lord gave me that I ain't even really believing for real. So I'm like, man, it's gonna be real slow today, man. It's gonna be like one of the slowest days that it's ever gonna be. So we start going through the day, normal hustle and bustle, and it's really slow though. Actually, let me take that back. I didn't even tell her to do that. I'm just thinking it in the back of my head. I was like, man, me, I'm just pump faking like everything gonna be okay. Everything gonna be cool. But I'm just sitting there and I'm doing the dishes, but everything is real slow. It's slow to the point where, a lot of the cooks, good thing about working at restaurants for people who just trying to up and come and get money, food is always on deck, and that's a wonderful thing. It's a great thing for anyone. It's wonderful. So the chefs will cook food, so they cooking us a meal. They made us something to eat. They asked us what we want to eat, so we get something to eat, and it's just slow that day. And it was so cool. And the next thing I know is I hear the other dishwasher was like, man, this got to be the slowest day it's ever been that I ever seen it on this weekend. I'm like, all right, Dad. Okay, Lord. And I know that seems like out of the norm, and that seems like, okay, blah, 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 blah. But that's one of the main things that start happening where I'm like, all right, because it's far more after that, like getting to peep into other people's lives when the Lord end up sending you over and telling you to speak over somebody else's life on some people that you don't even really be chopping it with or talk with all like that, and it be hitting home. Like, these are the things that just let you know that God is in control and he knows what you're going through and he can see you through. So, like, even when it's hard times like this and he telling you don't worry and everything's gonna be all right, trust it. Trust it. God knows everything. He knows everything. He knows everything. He's the creator of everything. Like, he's in control of everything. Sometimes it don't seem like he in control because, the main thing that everybody say is God's thoughts are not our thought, neither are his ways are not our ways. This is a real scripture and it's true. Like, his ways are really past finding out. So, like, a lot of times, man, I try to stop making sense out of everything, even though a lot of times, like, Lord, I really need for you to answer some questions because this don't make sense and I want to be confident enough to walk in this thing. So, like, we really have to just get an understanding that God is in control and that he knows everything. There's nothing that he doesn't know. Like, sometimes we think that these wise and wonderful ideas that we come up with are on our own. No, we have to acknowledge that it comes from a great God, our great Father who gave us a Holy Spirit, who gives us all ideas and puts it in us and causes us to work it out. You know what I'm saying? And has everything in control. Like, God is really omniscient. And I'm hoping I'm saying that right. Omniscient. I said it right. Omniscient. Another way that I know God for, and one of the main ways that I've seen him and he works in my life constantly now, and I feel like this is the greatest thing that I could have, is because it just soothes me, man. And it's my love language too. You feel me? Like, one of my love language is touches. So, like, I'm a touchy-feely type person. You know what I'm saying? I like hugs, bumps, cuddling, all that random type of stuff. but it works in my favor is because I've learned that God is a comforter. The first couple of years, it was just a lot of crazy stuff happening. Like, me being in the house with my mom and me trying to grow and branch out and be a man and do all these things. And he'd either send some people out to comfort me, or like he'd comfort me himself. And sometimes, and especially when my grandmother passed away, man, that was like the hardest time that I ever had in my whole life, man. When my grandma passed, man, I was salty because my grandma is almost like, as far as Christianity within my immediate family, like, to me, she was almost like the staple. Like, my grandma prayed, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she would talk and, like, I could be in her presence for a quick minute, and then, like, we'd be sitting there and I would feel like the Holy Spirit, like, hug me and comfort me. And, like, I never forget one of these days I was sitting, I was frustrated because I was leaving class and I'm trying to do like the evangelist thing. I'm trying to tell people about Jesus, and this stuff is not working. This stuff's not working, and I'm not approaching it the right way neither. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to be laid back, but at the same time I'm trying to be like, look though. And I'm frustrated and I'm sitting there, and then I just remember my grandma saying, like, man, it's crazy what can happen in a few minutes. Like, you know what I'm saying? I really felt like the Lord and felt like the comforting of the Lord in my life through those times. And when my grandma passed, man, that was like one of the hardest times that I ever had. And I could just remember constantly how the Lord was comforting me and protecting me. You feel me? Like, I remember I was driving, like, the day of her funeral, I was driving somewhere, and I was supposed to go over to my sister's house. I went over to my sister's house, and I think she ended up passing out and going to sleep. So I ended up having to drive back home. But me driving back home, I fell asleep over the wheel. And all I remember is I literally felt my car, because I was already falling asleep and was drifting. I could almost feel I was drifting away. But I literally felt like a nudge on me. and I really felt my car lift up and move. And I'm like, man, what in the world is this? But the Lord really saved my life and saved my whip, because that would be terrible, because it's literally a big pole right in front of where my mom's house is at. So when I was driving back to her house, man, that would have been all bad. But at the same time, it was people who came. I remember me crying out in the middle of Cedar Road, man, because I just couldn't take it. And it was this one dude, he came and he gave me a hug, and he just got the hold of me. And I'm like, man, Lord, man, you just know what to do at the right times. And again, I'm a touchy-feely type of person, so this stuff is the type of stuff that settled me. Even sometimes, randomly, on random days, I can feel the Lord just giving me a whole lot of comfort when I'm just chilling on a random day and there's no reason to comfort me. Usually that means somebody's about to do some trash later on that day. Usually it is. I end up running into some trash that really just frustrate me and make me upset. But I'm like, oh, I see why you was comforting me earlier. So it make me get a level head about it and just understand the two things, is that God is a comforter and that he knows all things. So it ended up working hand in hand. But again, those 2 times when the Lord really just comforted me when my grandmother passed away, and how I kept having like certain dreams and the Lord kept talking to me and comforting me and just holding me. Like, that's the main thing that I keep getting to this day. It's just the feeling of the Lord just holding me, man. Like, even in like worship session, like when we be worshiping at church, or even when I worship at home, man, I just feel like the Lord just holding me, man, and just letting me know that everything's gonna be all right, and just understanding that he there with me. Because that, like, more than anything, that's what that makes everything. It's just understanding that the Lord is with me and that we have a real relationship and that he got my back, man. I never want to walk out here feeling like I'm doing this thing on my own. I'm over trying to do stuff over on my own. And just understanding that the Lord is a comforter and that he knows all things right now. I mean, those have been, again, there's more for me to learn, and there's more that I'm in the process of going on. But I don't want to talk about stuff I'm in the process of going on and it still be shaky. I feel like I got to test this thing out and find it out. You know what I'm saying? Grace. but understanding that he's all-knowing and that he's my comforter makes everything great, especially for right now. Always assuring me, he always guiding me, he's always letting me know, like, everything's gonna be okay. And even when I don't see stuff the full way, because a lot of times he give me, we'll leave that out. But yeah, as long as he guiding me and showing me the way, and just giving me the comfort to kind of keep pushing, that's all I really need. That's all I really need, man. At the end of the day, sometimes I'm always trying to be somebody else's hype man, but like, it's good to know that the Lord being my hype man too. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes he checking me, but at the same time, he my hype man in my corner, always trying to push me into purpose and trying to make sure I'm doing what I need to do and keep pushing me and being better. So, you know what I'm saying? And comforting me when I'm sad, you know, and letting me know that everything's okay and giving me the plan that he has for my life. Omniscient. But I'm gonna go to the scriptures now. The first scripture I'm gonna read from is gonna be from 2 Corinthians, and I'm gonna piggyback basically from the points where I said of God that I know, you know. I'm gonna read from 2 Corinthians 1:3-4, where it says, "Praise be to God and the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Father of all compassion and the God of all comfort, who comforts us in all of our trouble, so that we can comfort those in trouble with the comfort we ourselves receive from God." Again, understanding, remember what I was telling y'all at the beginning. And this is something, matter of fact, slight plug. What I'm talking about right now, y'all are going to end up seeing this on Wednesday. So if y'all see this on Wednesday, the following day, and I'm going to put the link of More Than Conquerors Outreach Center on the page, y'all can look at the sermon that's kind of that I'm piggybacking off of on that site. So yeah, I definitely end up posting it. All the sermons again are on there. So if y'all, I know everybody's quarantining. So if y'all want to listen to it, I'm definitely gonna have that available. But back to the point, shameless plug. Again, what I was saying is like, basically, the characteristics that we see or the way that we have a relationship with God should reflect on what we read in the Bible. We shouldn't step out of that. You know what I'm saying? It's because sometimes we can get overzealous and get out of pocket, and we want to make sure when we portraying and we telling somebody about the relationship that we have with God that it lines up with the Bible. And And again, I just want to make sure that, again, when I'm telling y'all, I'm not going to tell y'all to do something that I'm not going to do myself. Again, I'm understanding that God is a comforter. So with me having a comforter, there's a scripture that reminds me and lets me know that God is a comforter. The second scripture I'm going to read is going to be from Psalms 139, 1 through 6. It says, "O Lord, you have searched me and you know me. You know when I sit down and you know when I rise up. You discern my thoughts from far away. You search out my path and my lying down, and you are acquainted with all my ways. Even before a word is on my tongue, O Lord, you know it completely. You hem me in, behind and before, and lay your hand upon me. Such knowledge is too wonderful for me. It is too high that I cannot attain it." Again, the Lord is omniscient, and basically, again, he's all knowing. Like his ways are past finding out. There's other scriptures that talk about like his who can know the mind of God. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's also some things that's saying that nobody really has to teach the Lord anything. Like he already knows it. Like he created it. Like this is his. So he already has these plans already figured out. Like everything that's going on is not a surprise to him. That's why when sometimes we're confused and we don't understand, or when we're going through things, we should lean on to somebody who has the wisdom, who has the understanding. We should lean on to the guy who understands all things. A lot of times us people, even though we could have degrees and gone through life and seen a number of different things, these are good people to have near you. But at the same time, nobody knows more than Jesus. Okay? Nobody. Nobody, baby. All right, sorry, I had to throw that in there. But yeah, nobody knows more than the Lord. And again, as I'm saying that he's omniscient, I'm bringing the scripture back because we want to make sure this thing is relevant to the Bible when we start talking about the relationships that we have with Christ, because we don't want to mislead anyone, or we don't want to be overzealous ourselves where the Lord has to humble us like, "Hey fam, that's not me. I'm sorry, Lord." And we all go through that too. So, don't beat yourself up. I've done it. We've all done it. I remember smoking back in the day. The Lord want me to smoke. Ha ha ha. No. No, family. You want to smoke. Like, no, he doesn't want you to do that. And I was serious about it. Yeah, man, I'm about to slang these trees, cuz. Saying it was the Lord. It wasn't him at all. It wasn't him at all. Stop it, please. I don't want you to do this. I actually don't want you to talk to me like this. I want you to come to me in reverence. I really got checked like that from the Lord before. Like, I remember one time me smoking and me going to church afterwards, and this is all the way side note, and then I just realized it, and I would start trying to do like my praise and worship like I usually do, and then it felt weird. As I was going through this, he was like, "Man, you just can't come to me any type of way like this." this. Okay, like you know better. Like you know better. So don't do it. Like all right. Sorry. But again, God's all knowing. He knows when to speak to us. He knows when to check us. He knows how to talk to us. He like this scripture says, he knows my rising up and my laying down. He discerns my thoughts from far away. Hey, stop it. No. But like it's cool to understand that when I don't have understanding, when I don't get it, when it's not seeming to click, when I'm frustrated beyond my ways, that God is all knowing and that he's a comforter. So he can meet me where I'm at and be like, you good. Now let's get it. Let's keep going. Or sometimes he just might be like, be still. Rest. Keep getting this hugging. You need a little bit more hugs. I'm cool with that, Father. Hug me. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope this thing came out clear. It's because, again, I just wanted to be able to like narrow it down and not beat y'all to death with how the Lord deals with me in my personal life. If y'all want to talk about, put like a comment on how the Lord treats you, you can do that. Definitely comment, subscribe. Thank y'all for constantly watching stages. I appreciate it. Appreciate y'all listening to me. I thank the Lord for pouring this into my heart for me to keep going and keep doing this, because it's super dope. I'm actually gonna say that. So the crazy one thing that I actually want to be able to encourage people with, especially when they start doing stuff within purpose, or when God calls you to do something, or when he asks you to do something, I realize a lot of times, and I've just been paying attention to this a lot of stuff comes from like an origin or practicing like when nobody's actually looking. Like, to keep it all the way funky is like, before I actually started doing this, I started doing like a video diary before on just how I was feeling and things that I was going through, and kind of like talking these things out and really dealing with it and allowing the Lord to kind of talk to me as I'm actually doing like the video diary, which was super dope. And then, he ends up coming with this idea for me to bring this thing and kind of push out the YouTube. I actually recently seen like a recent church, and that was I don't know why I don't know your name. Oh, New Community. I actually want to give them big ups. Is because like the rawest thing that just recently happened, especially when it came to this COVID-19 thing, is that when it came to this COVID-19 thing, is I know like before even doing this thing where it was like a big frame, when they go on the news and they telling everybody that they about to pray and then have a worship session, like they've been doing that stuff already. Like I remember them like having like one time out of the week where like they would take their time out to serve. People would come from services and we would all just be in a room and we'd be praying and worshiping for like an hour, maybe like 2 hours. And it's raw to see how like the Lord will take that and then put it on a big platform, you know what I'm saying, and really be able to make an impact and make a difference, in the community, and be able to pray in masses, where it's not no limit. It's not limited to one church. It's just us coming together and trying to bring people to Christ and pray for people who need them, and pray for for healing and all that other type of stuff. It's like they was already doing that. It's almost like David and his slingshot. You know what I'm saying? When David, at one point when he was getting ready to fight Goliath, he actually had like armor. Like he had like a shield and he had a knife and he had all this armor. And he was like, man, like this stuff don't fit me. I don't know how to war like this. And he went back to that slingshot because he'd been working that slingshot for a long time. So when the Lord tells you to step up and do something that you've been doing at your home, and he pushes that out in the front and he calls you to do it, be of good courage. Like, you know what I'm saying? Be bold about that. It's because you've been practicing for a long time with the same, you've been practicing a long time doing the same thing. Now it's just people there. You know what I'm saying? Keep doing what you've been doing in the presence of the Lord, but do it out with the people that's around you. So, like, and that the people that he called you to, or however he called you to war, or however he called you to be able to do your purpose and be able to reach people, like, do that. You know what I'm saying? This is the same way he saved you. Help other people. This is actually goes back to the same thing what I was saying before, even in the scripture where it says, who caused us to comfort all those in their trouble, the same way that he comfort us. Like the same way we receive that comfort, we should be able to give it out. So the same way we receive whatever we received and however we were working in our secret place, that's the same place he's gonna call us to work that out with other people. So I just had to throw that out there. I don't know where that came from, but take it. But yeah, thank y'all again for tuning in to Stages. I appreciate everything y'all do, at least as far as just checking it out, hearing. I hope it's being able to feed and being able to give people some nuggets and being able to help people, like, cause that's all I really want to do. Show people more of our daddy and hope they give their life to our dad and just have a better relationship and be able to grow. I know probably people thought, like, when stepping into the Stages thing, I'd just be sitting around talking about relationships all day long, women all day long. You keep thinking about that stuff all day long and you don't got it, you get bitter. Like, straight up. So I just work, a lot of times, man, I'm just working with what I got and just trying not to focus on what I want so bad. Like, you know what I mean? That I miss the time that in the present of the stuff that I can relish in and I can enjoy and I can appreciate. Like, appreciate the stage that you in. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I know a lot of us, especially singles, man, that be trying to, you know, we look for our wife. And side note, like, I am trying to, like, get prepared, like, financially and just mentally, just understanding, like, what my job is as a man. And when I'm getting into this thing, like, man, it's a lot of work. And I get that, and I'm understanding. And I'm just, right now, I'm cracking down, like, on the work ethic and just trying to make sure that I'm together financially and just with my thought process of thinking ahead. So, you know, to make sure that everybody cool when that time come, you know, especially, you know, when meter and all that other type of stuff. But, yeah, it's just important right now for me to just relish and just enjoy the time that I'm in right now. I'm just keeping busy. You feel me? Just trying to keep in work and being goofy and still being able to find some time to play. That's all, man. The most important thing that we can get, at least from these episodes and at least from Stages, man, it's just being able to process the stage that you in right now, being able to accept it and appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I never want to be that person that be married and just be trying to feel like, man, I wish I was single. Like, man, I lived my single life. I'm cool. You know what I'm saying? The one thing that I can actually say about my lives, even from BC to now, like, I'm cool. Like, I'm cool. Like, I've lived the crazy life. I've lived the bachelor life. I've lived the sexual sin life. I've lived the smoking life. I've lived the drinking life. I've lived the gambling at the casino life. I've lived all of these things. Everything I've done it to the fullest where it's exhausted. So I don't want to do it anymore. Like, I'm not pressed. Like, I'm not pressed. Like, even a lot of the times, the crazy thing is, even some of my friends that's not all the way saved, even if we meet up and we talk back again, we like, man, when we was young, we was doing some ill stuff to the point where, like, right now, that stuff don't faze me no more. Like, so, like, the turning up and, like, even though, don't get me wrong, like, if I could go, like, in the right room, you feel me, in the right room where it ain't no extra, it ain't too much rah-rah, where it's a nice little kick it, I still step out, dance, and get my two-step on. No worries at all. You feel me? You feel me? All of those moves. like all of those moves. I'm still me, but at the same time, it's like I'm not fiending and I'm not trying to look for whatever was missing in me before, trying to find it. And then again, everything that I was trying to do before came from like a love aspect. So I'm not looking for that no more. So now the stage that I'm in is just me being single and establishing myself and just being to be okay with myself, flaws and all, and not being so hard on myself and not you know what I'm saying, and still being able to grow better work ethic and just trying to improve, and at the same time living my life and just enjoying me and enjoying the company that come around. You feel me? Like, that's all I can do. That's all I can do. And enjoying the presence of the Lord. It ain't never going nowhere. But this will be like the practices that I'm establishing now. They could possibly change a little bit with me from me being single to not. But who I lean towards when in my time of trouble, who I call on for direction, who I really need to get an understanding of when me and Shorty beefing. You know what I'm saying? Because it could possibly come. We could be in the same house and we could still be beefing. Like, you know what I'm saying? Or we could not be seeing eye to eye. I still have to lean on the Lord. Like, the Lord is at the middle. He's at the center of everything that I do in my life. And I'm just trying to keep that consistent. When I'm frustrated, I'm still trying to keep the Lord consistent. Like, even recently, I've been listening to, I've still been going back and kind of listening to my turn-up jams and watching a lot of movies now. Because when I'm frustrated, that's just what I be doing. Like, you know, I just watch a lot of movies and I sit and I try to chill and I work. But at the same time, like, sometimes I realize I gotta reel it in. Like, all right, Pops. Like, that's what I call the Lord. Sometimes we call him Pops or Dad. You know, like, sometimes I sit down like, all right, Pops. Like, what do you want me? What do you want me to do? Like, you know, like, I kind of need you to be closer to me right now. Like, am I hearing you right? Like, am I handling the situation right? Like, do I need to reel it in? Do you need more time from me? Like, those type of things I kind of try to keep in touch with. It's, again, because I'm touchy feeling. So that's how we have our relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, it really be like that. But again, thank y'all for listening, stages. I definitely see y'all next Wednesday. Like, subscribe, comment. Be open. Comment. Don't watch it and not write anything. Type. Type. Thank y'all. See y'all next week.